Hello all my dear friends, once again I welcome you back to my YouTube channel Modern English with Khandu Dayal. Dear friends, if you are new to this channel, please like, share, comment and subscribe my YouTube channel to get more videos. Dear friends, in this video we are going to discuss more about the poem Father Returning Home by Dilip Chitre. But before going to have the actual poem, let us have a look on the poet. The poem entitled Father Returning Home is written by Dilip Chitre and his lifespan is 1938 to 2009. He was celebrated bilingual poet and translator with remarkable work in Marathi and English. His versatile creativity extends to painting, filmmaking and his notable contribution as a magazine columnist. He received the prestigious Sahitya Academy Award both for poetry as well as for his well-known translation work Says Tuka, popular Abhangas, spiritual poems by Sant Tukaram. He had started translation of literary work of saints in Marathi at the age of 16. Exile, alienation, self-disintegration and death are observed to be the major themes of his works. Now, as the introduction we have seen, now based on his introduction we came to know that he was the bilingual poet, whereas he is the recipient of Sahitya Academy Award for his work in English and Marathi, and he also has given a lot to the Marathi and English literature. This poem is taken from Travelling in a Cage. Now the present poem, that is Father Returning Home, has been taken from the Travelling in a Cage. It draws a portrait of a suburban commuter. Commuter means those who travel regularly from one place to another, right, for the work purpose. That is what commuters. It depicts his dull, monotonous, exhausting and equally pitiable daily routine. It describes a forced alienation at home which is reflected through the stale food and a lack of sharing. His children refuse to share their joys and sorrows with the hard-working father who as a result is forced to retire into solitude. This very painful loneliness is a symbol of man's isolation from the materialistic man-made world. Now, what do we understand by reading this particular paragraph? We came to know about the poem and the main idea of the poem, what the poem is all about. The poem is all about father, right, who has been living a kind of isolated life in the man-made world or materialistic man-made world. Even though the people are surrounded of him, still he has no one to care of him, nobody is there to share with him, and that's how he has to live forced alienation life. He has to live isolation. He has to live his life in isolation, even though the people are there. Nobody is there to share with him. Even his family members doesn't care about him, even though he is the bread owner of the family. So let us have a look on the actual poem. Dear friends, let's have a look on the poem entitled Father Returning Home. What does the title indicate? The title indicates the poem is all about the father who is working for his family. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Now the poet is talking about his father who is coming from the home late in the night, and when he travels by the train is full of commuters. Commuters, the people who travel regularly from one place to another for work purpose. So whenever he travels by the train is full of silent commuters, and they are not even able to talk to each other because the whole day they have worked and they have become so much tired that they don't want to talk to each other. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. Now maybe because the whole day the poet's father has worked and he has tired a lot and he is not even able to notice what is happening outside the train, and that is what suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy and his black raincoat stained with mud and his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. Now his father has worked for a whole day and he has become so tired, so fatigued, and his pants and his shirts have become so drenched and they have soaked with moisture because he has worked a whole day, and his black raincoat stained with mud. Maybe that is a monsoon night, and because of that his coat, his shirt and pants have become moisture, have become drenched. And the bag is full of books and the books are falling from the bag. What does that indicate? That indicates that he is having a journey through the train which is full of crowd and he is somehow managing to travel. So that shows his struggle for his family, that he is doing a work, he's doing a hard work for his family. His eyes dimmed by age, and now his eyes, that shows he has become old, he has become dull with age, that shows that he has an old person. His eyes dimmed by age fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Even if he has become old, he is having a kind of expectations, that he is expecting that there is someone in the home, at the home, who is waiting for him, and he just expecting to go home, right? That someone is waiting for him. Now I can see him getting off the train. Poet again is saying that now he is able to see him from getting off the train, like a word dropped from a long sentence. Here the poet is comparing the father with the whole sentence. Like he is, means the poet's father is getting off the train as the word is dropping from a long sentence. So here, now I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. Here in this two line, the poet is using a kind of simile, right, wherein direct comparison is there, where the writer's father is compared with the word. He hurries across the length of a grey platform. This poem is full of imagery. Every now and then the pitiable situation of the poet's father is shown everywhere. He hurries across the length of grey platform. Now what does that indicate? Grey platform indicate that he has become an old. Now the dullness of father's life, that indicates the dullness and the old age of father. He hurries across the length of a grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. Now the situation of the writer's father is being shown here, and how he is sticky with the mud. His chappals are sticky with mud and he hurries onwards because the whole day he has worked, and even though he is expecting that there is someone at the home who is waiting for him. Home again, I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. Again, the poet says that when he returns to home, what does he do? He drinks a weak tea and eats a stale chapati, and after that he goes for reading. What does that indicate? That indicates that nobody is there at home who can care for him, who is there to look after him. Even if he is working for the family, even if he is the breadwinner of the family, no one is there to look after him, to take care of him. That shows that he is not being given the well-nourished food which will be able to save his energy, or which will be able to give him what he is needed. And that stale chapati and that weak tea indicates that his life is not at all good, that nobody is there to take care of him. So that is why the poet is saying that whenever he comes home, the poet's father, that he is not being given a good treatment. So he goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. After eating stale chapati and drinking weak tea, what happens? He goes into the toilet to contemplate, to think deeply. The word contemplate means to think deeply over an issue or topic. That is man's estrangement. Estrangement means alienation. He goes into a toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. That the world that the poet's father has made, that he has to live in a forced alienation. Even though he has made a world, he has to live in isolations because nobody is there to take care of him, nobody is there to talk with him. So what will he do? So he will just go in the toilet to contemplate, to think deeply over the man's estrangement in the man-made world, or in the materialistic man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink. Now whenever he comes out from the toilet, he trembles at the sink. The cold water running over his brown hands. Now every now and then the imagery is used that shows that the father has become old. That shows his dullness, that shows his weakness. A few droplets cling to the graying hair on his wrist. Now the word graying hair, what does that indicate? That indicate that the father has become old. That nobody is there to take care of him, nobody is there to look after him. That he has worked a lot for family. And every now and then, the whole day, he has worked for the family, but nobody is there to talk to him. Even his sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. Now, whenever the father returns home, his children also, his sullen children, sullen means bad-tempered, his sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. Even the children also not ready to share the secrets and joy with father. So what will the father do if the children are not ready to talk to him, if the children are not ready to share the joy and sorrow with him? Of course, he will feel bad. He will now go to sleep. What will he do if there is no one in the family to share with him, to talk with him, to provide him a good nourished food? So what will he do? He will just go to sleep, listening to the static on the radio. As there is no one, so what will he do? He will take the help of radio to listen, means as he wants to remove his alienation, as he wants to remove his tiredness. So what will he do? He will just listen on the static, dreaming of his ancestors. Now what he is dreaming? He is dreaming of his ancestors, means he is just remembering, recalling his past. What has happened in the past and what his past was all about. Everything he is remembering, he is recalling. And dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren. He is thinking about future. What will happen to him? Now he is much worried about the future. What will happen to him in the future? Thinking of nomads. He is thinking as if he is a nomads. That is migrants or wanderers. Means in his own home, he has been treating as if he is not the part of his home. As if he is the nomads. Nomads means a kind of migrants or wanderers, who is not from the proper place. That is what he has been given, that treatment. and he has not been given the well nourished food. He has not been given a proper treatment at the home, and that's why he feels forced alienation in his own home. That is what the last line talks about. He is thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. He thinks himself as if he is a nomad who is entering in a subcontinent through a narrow pass, and as nobody is there to talk to him, he feels that he is forced to live in isolation, right? And he has been forced to live in a painful situation, loneliness, and he has to live in a isolated life from the man-made materialistic world. So this is what the poem is all about. I hope students you would have understood the poem.